Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're baking a delicious homemade vegan carrot cake loaf that is perfect for any occasion. It's moist but not stodgy, and it's super flavorful and packed with carrots. And when I say packed with carrots, I mean that, because I tried using different amounts of carrots so that we could use the maximum possible number of carrots in this cake without it being too moist. We start off by sifting all the dry ingredients together into a large mixing bowl. If you want the exact measurements that I used for everything, they're in the recipe that is in the link below. I know sometimes people aren't sure if sugar is a wet ingredient or a dry ingredient, because technically it can be both, but in this recipe I went ahead and sifted the sugar with the dry ingredients. The next step is to whisk all the ingredients until it's all one uniform color. Then we're going to prep our loaf pan, and prepping the pan basically just means that you're coating all the insides with any kind of vegan oil, and then once you do that, you line the long end with parchment paper so that it makes it easy for you to pull it out when it's done cooling. I like to use little clips to hold down the sides of the parchment paper. That way when I pour my batter in, the parchment paper flaps don't get in the way. Okay, this part is super important. Nobody else is doing this, and that's why this is the best carrot cake loaf recipe that's vegan and on the internet right now. So I tried making this like 6 times, and finally, this was the key. You have to drain as much of the liquid out of the carrots as you can before you make this cake. This keeps the carrot cake loaf from getting too stodgy, which is a real problem with vegan loaf cakes because the rising agent really only works for the first half hour or so. And since the carrots are releasing moisture throughout the baking time, and your rising agents have basically stopped working after the first half hour of baking, your second half hour, it's just getting more and more moist, and it can make the bottom part of the loaf be very stodgy. Next is to whisk all of the wet ingredients together, and you can get the measurements for those using the link to the recipe in the description. Now we get to add the carrots and the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients and fold them in. Here's where your clips come in handy. See how the parchment paper flaps are staying out of the way while I fill the loaf pan with batter? Just don't forget to take your clips off before you bake. Now bake your carrot cake loaf according to the directions in the recipe. It's going to take at least an hour, so while it's baking, you can make an icing for it or a garnish, or you can just relax. Loaf cakes take a really long time to cool, so once you've done the toothpick test and the toothpick comes out clean and you know that you can take it out of the oven, you want to leave it in the pan on the cooling rack for, I would say, 1 to 2 hours. Thanks for joining me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more vegan recipes. I made this carrot cake loaf 6 times in order to get it perfect. So I'm very excited about it. It was worth it. It was worth making it 1,000,000 times. You want some?